bleeding out and tossed in the mud. The whole world was conspiring to wipe him out. Zero power, no feature at all. His fate was pretty much sealed. Just another weak kid getting ignored until he stumbles onto some mysterious remains. A forbidden crystal drops right into his hands. In a desperate move, he presses the gem straight into his own open wound. And just like that, everything changed. Massive energy completely swallows his body. His shadow awakens like a deadly beast, packing enough strength to shatter the earth itself. That useless kid was wiped from existence, stepping up as a built different predator. If you want to see how he bodied everything, drop a like and come with me. Our boy grits his teeth, feeling a sharp, throbbing pain. Looking down, he sees the wound on his chest bleeding a lot, while lightning flashes across the sky. Honestly, he figures he'll have to visit a medicine shop tomorrow to find some herbs that actually work. Moving carefully, he walks through the ruined area. Just ahead, he spots a guy leaning against a wall. The dude looks completely frozen, leaving our MC both surprised and suspicious. Glowing brightly, a light seems to come straight from his body, lighting up the whole place. Bennett hits him, remembering that this light came down along with the eye of the divine spirit. Quickly, he ducks behind a wall to hide. Staring up while thinking it over, he notices a giant statue's head floating in the stormy sky. With time running out, his eyes lock onto the target. He realizes the glow comes from the guy's chest and decides he needs to grab it if it's a treasure. Hidden away, our boy analyzes the situation, noticing the body isn't moving but doesn't look like a normal corpse either, making him wonder if it's a trap. To test the waters, he decides to throw a rock, knowing he can run away from that distance if things go south. Smack in the arm, the projectile hits the guy, but there's zero reaction. A purple crystal drops from his clothes from the impact, and our MC watches the whole thing from behind the cover. Seeing his own reflection in the crystal, he's shocked to realize it really is a rare item. Snatching it up fast, he finally gets his hands on the loot. Relieved, he looks back and takes the chance to dip out of there. And that's where it gets crazy. The mysterious guy's body collapses into the dirt, turning into pure bones. All alone in the middle of the wreckage, our boy keeps running to find some shelter. He keeps sprinting and notices his movements feel way lighter for some reason. Gripping the gem tightly, he guesses it might be the cause, but keeping it safe is priority number one. Next up, he needs to find a good hiding spot before night falls. Pushing his speed to the max, he dashes through the ruins looking for safety. Soon enough, he reaches an area full of rubble and uses the rocks to block the entrance. But suddenly, a bird sound echoes right above him. Spinning around on high alert, our MC looks for the enemy. Exhausted, he drops the branch he used as a weapon to finally catch his breath. Having a second to chill, he quits ready to check on his wound. Staring at his chest, he freezes in surprise, seeing the cut had healed up without him even noticing. Holding the crystal, he wonders if this thing can actually heal people. To test his theory, he pulls a lifeless creature out of his bag. Then, he brings the gem closer to the animal, curious to see if it has other effects. The glowing stone touches the creature's open wound. Instantly, energy flows out of the rock and starts patching up the injury. Out of nowhere, the beast starts thrashing and flapping its wings with cracked strength, spooking our boy. He realizes the bird's power spiked so much he can barely hold on to it. Trying to contain the thing, he slams it down and steps on it hard. Knife in hand, he sends the creature packing for good. Having defeated the beast, he leaves its lifeless body on the dirt. Thinking about what just went down, he figures out the stone somehow made the thing move again. Deciding on the best play, he realizes the safest place to hide the item is inside his own body. He presses the jewel right against his wound. Sinking through the cut, the crystal enters his body and speeds up the healing. And just like that, everything changed as the fusion starts, unleashing a massive explosion. A wild tornado of energy completely wraps around our MC's body. He's mind-blown realizing that this is pure spiritual energy. Grabbing a wooden scroll, our boy says he can finally train that technique. This reminds him of the cultivation scroll and the 10 levels he read about. Back during the test, it was a no-go, but now the tables have turned and he actually awakened his spiritual energy. Dead serious, the crystal in his chest reacts and drops some surreal power. During the trance, all the organic impurities get pushed out of him as energy. His eyes shift instantly, overflowing with heavy pressure. Channeling all that juice into his fist, he punches the ground. The strike is so overpowered it sends shockwaves ripping through the dirt. Shook, he notices his hideout cave actually shaking from the impact of his punch. A hit like that definitely should have wrecked his arm, so he rolls up his sleeve to check. Surprisingly, he took 0 damage even after slamming the floor that hard. He quickly realizes this is the sign of the first mutation point level, since world energy can corrupt the body. Left unchecked, a person loses their mind and turns into just another monster. Because of that risk, the techniques push everything into a single spot on the arm. Basically, every time he hits a new level, another one of these marks will pop up. An eerie silence leaves our MC wondering what's up. He questions why there's absolutely no noise outside. Pushing the boulder away, our boy opens up the entrance to his hideout. A bright flash floods the place and catches him totally off guard. Stepping out to look, he faces a clear sky with 0 signs of the storm. But right where his village used to be, he finds pure destruction and a body on the ground. Staring at his reflection in a puddle, he realizes this was where he spent his whole life. His old life might not have been the greatest, especially since he hadn't awakened his spiritual energy back then. Playing back everything he suffered in his head, he decides he's not giving up here. Carrying the body of someone who once mattered to him, he walks away surrounded by ruins. That wasn't the first body he had to carry, but it was going to be the last. Carefully, he covers everyone up, showing respect to all the people from his home. Holding a torch, he swears to himself that he'll keep fighting. Without delay, he tosses the fire onto the makeshift pyre for his former companions. The flames light up the kid's face as he makes a promise to survive. Taking a moment, our MC puts his hands together in pure respect. Silently, he wishes for them all to rest in peace. Out of nowhere, a massive crash completely shatters the peaceful vibe. Jumping away at the last second, the boy dodges the impact right where someone threw a weapon at him, laughing his head off. A buff, bald guy was standing right behind him. This meathead mocks him, figuring out who cleaned up the area. No warning at all, he charges in, going all out with a brutal swing. Dodging with a replay-worthy move, RMC easily avoids the hit. Whipping out a baton he had hidden up his sleeve, smacking the big guy right in the face, leaving him totally confused. Holding nothing back, the kid pulls his dagger, hyper-focused on the fight. Seconds later, the blade pierces the enemy's foot with 0 mercy. Screaming in pain, the bald dude backs up, holding his bleeding leg that's leaking like a busted ketchup packet. Playing it safe, the MC takes a step back into a defensive stance. Boiling with rage, the bald guy raises his weapon and promises to end him. Baldy versus our boy, they're both ready to throw down while the guy screams he's gonna wipe the floor with him. But then they hear footsteps and a new squad shows up out of the blue, chilling the vibe. The older guy arriving says the kid doesn't look guilty for what happened to the village. Right away, our MC realizes they're the scavenger squad. Since the path is clear, it makes sense for the scavengers to roll in now. Trying to complain, the hurt bald guy just gets quickly shut down by the leader. Freezing the whole room, the boss asks if he really has to repeat his order. Still whining to the boss, the bald dude tries to snitch on what our boy did. Glaring with pure authority, he proves he's the one in charge by telling Baldy to get lost and ordering someone to drag him away. The rest of the squad carries the meathead off while our MC just watches. Stepping closer, the leader comes over to chat with the kid. Introducing himself as Captain Lei, the older guy asks straight up if he wants to leave this place with him. Deep down, he thinks the sudden invite is weird, but he agrees on the spot. Watching the bald axe guy leave, he wonders if tacking along with this crew is actually worth it. Captain Lei just chills, patiently waiting for him to make a call. Seconds later, the MC's choice is fully locked in. Walking casually, the kid follows the squad, sealing the deal. Later on, the crew decides to take a break from hiking to set up camp. The boss walks over and hands him a temporary sleeping bag. Since our boy didn't have a tent and was the rookie, he gets one, but the leader tells him not to get used to it. Two members light up some incense around the area to keep the beasts away. Somebody even tells the kid that Baldy got tired and won't bother him anymore. They advise our boy to relax and just crash for the night. Before long, the dark night covers the entire forest. A creepy centipede crawls through the grass while the group sleeps. Inside the tent, the big guy is sleeping like a rock. And that's where it gets crazy. He wakes up choking with the blade to his neck. Clamping his hand over the giant's mouth, our MC cuts off any cry for help. Without a second thought, he knows you can't sleep with an enemy still breathing. He tries to fight back hard, but his eyes roll back and he slumps over. Pulling the dagger back, the kid is completely sure he had to do it. Outside, total peace keeps dominating the quiet camp. Then he drags that huge heavy dude straight into the shadows, grabbing the lethal snakehead he had already prepped. The idea is super simple, just sink the fangs into the body. This acid poison worked perfectly to melt the entire corpse. In a flash, the body turns into nothing but dark slime on the clean dirt. Looting the victim's gear, he wipes out absolutely every trace. Peeking into the empty tent right after, he sees he fully deleted the problem. To anyone else there, it'll just look like the guy sneaked off. Heading back to his own sleeping bag, he manages to pass out under the moonlight. Waking up at sunrise, the kid gets ready to face the morning, checking out his surroundings. Does he get a massive shock? Surprisingly enough, the bald guy's tent is is just completely gone. Holding the torn fabric, he mentally wonders who would do that. Captain Lei guesses that Baldy took the loot and bailed in the middle of the night. This catches him off guard, scrambling his brain over the whole situation. Hearing some heavy footsteps stomping hard, he focuses on the noise in front of him. To his surprise, the scavenger boss stops right in front of him. Staring him down, the veteran asks if he's still down to leave with the group. Completely silent, the kid shoots back a steady gaze. Deciding to stick around, he moves out with the squad. After a solid time skip, we got a huge snake brutally attacking our boy. But our hero doesn't back down an inch and throws a devastating punch at it. Dropping a crazy combo, he shatters all of his hard scales. Dazed by the hits, the snake twitches in pain. Diving straight into the attack, our boy shoves his knife down the beast's throat with zero mercy. The snake can only stare as the prey becomes the predator, with the kid ready to finish it. Our boy scoops up the snake's eye as a victory trophy and an afternoon snack. Just like that, he finishes the snake off calmly like it's just a regular Tuesday. Over in the arena, people are gossiping that he took down the horned python. Our MC heads toward the squad's camp, surrounded by beasts that are too scared to get close. Captain Thunder walks up and tells him he passed the test and can stay. Skipping the small talk, the kid asks if he can move in and gets a yes. He even offers the giant beast, remembering the veteran loves that meal. This is so random, it makes the boss laugh until he can't breathe. Watching from a distance, someone notices the kid's coldness in combat. But the hooded mystery guy finds the whole scene pretty interesting. Hours later, the leader shows our hero a fenced-in spot to live. Lei tells him to get settled because he's gonna call him to eat soon. That cramped little room gives him a massive sense of safety. Outside, a bug quietly lands on a tree, keeping a close eye on everything. Focused in his new room, the kid meditates while his power boils up. All his stacked-up strength overflows from his body during this training. And check this out, he actually hits the second layer of chi condensation. A call for dinner totally breaks his focus right then and there. Peeking through the door, the feast on the table leaves him absolutely shocked. There are plates of everything, a massive spread he hasn't seen in ages. The captain tells him to stop drooling from afar and sit down to eat. The catch is there's an extra plate set up right in the corner. Curious, he asks about a guest, but the old man says it's just a tradition. With a lost look, the boss says that spot is for someone who is never gonna show up, dropping the line with a super sad tone. The night outside stays super peaceful and quiet. Since he was starving, he attacks the food with his bare hands. Instantly, Lei smacks his hand using chopsticks. The veteran tells him to eat like a normal person and use utensils right. Without complaining, the kid obeys, looking pretty clumsy with the chopsticks. Even struggling to grab the food, he tears into the meal. Finding it funny, the captain serves him a piece and cracks a smile. Right there, he talks with his mouth full, saying the hunt guarantees grub for 15 days. This meat pays for the sleeping bag, and the rest covers the help against Baldy. Our boy even mentions he'll pay rent little by little so it's not a burden. Hearing that, the leader lets out a genuine laugh at the kid's boldness. Right after he drops his chopsticks on the table and looks dead serious. Lei explains his team is out and now the kid is gonna work with them. Totally chill, the kid just agrees easily while chewing. With no warning, the veteran chokes hard and coughs like he's gonna pass out. Taking a deep breath, he tells the kid to eat the rest and says they're heading out soon. Man, the vibe totally shifts right here and the kid gets highly focused. To survive in the Forbidden Zone, he's gonna have to get way stronger. Days later, it's pretty quiet while a bird flies over the camp. Our MC is out there grinding hard every single day. He can actually feel himself leveling up. Since the team is down, the leader tells everyone to pack up and roll out. Lei calls our boy over to grab some food. The kid spots that extra plate on the table again. Just then, a buff giant shows up with a club, announcing their return. This overwhelming presence drops a heavy pressure right on the kid. Another guy agrees instantly, thinking taking the kid is an awful idea. The duo steps up looking cocky and flexing their authority. The woman and the archer question if a brat really belongs there. Pausing his meal for a sec, the boy takes a moment to think. With sharp eyes, the archer sizes the kid up from head to toe. Finding it funny, the giant even jokes that the old man got himself a son. Staying completely quiet, the MC keeps measuring the group's power. It's pretty obvious to him that this trio is no joke. However, the archer definitely looks like the biggest threat out of them all. The leader just serves the kid a plate and tells everyone to eat up. Trying to break the ice, Lei introduces the giant with his crazy strength and Manhwa, who tames the camp dogs. The archer literally never misses a target no matter the distance. Our hero stares at them all, knowing instantly they are cracked. Having introduced everyone, the captain reveals the kid's current body level, saying he actually has the skills needed for the mission. Our boy shoots the leader a dead serious look. Feeling a bit sketchy, RMC gets slightly scared. Getting up, the archer says they're done with the small talk. Everyone stands up from the table. Because of that, the archer says talk is cheap. He wants to see the kid in action. The boy just keeps eating in his little corner. Lei then tells the kid to get ready. Pausing his meal, our MC says, let's do this, and claims he's ready to fight and crush any creature. The giant is actually impressed by the kid's big words. Right away, the girl looks at the kid and gets super curious. Ignoring the jokes, our hero focuses entirely on his own plate. Captain Thunder passes the torch and says the choice is all his. Sometime later, the squad is already pushing through a rocky desert. Moving carefully, they cross some really sketchy terrain. Out of nowhere, the guard dogs start barking and howling non-stop. The woman checks on the beast, trying to figure out what's going on. She smells blood and realizes something is missing. And that's where it gets crazy. She curses the empty air while the dogs back up in fear. A wild man is literally eating one of the dogs and mocking the taste. Sitting on one of the hounds, the enemy now wants a taste of the girl. Mad with rage, she charges in with her dogs. Quickly, the archer preps his combat stance to jump in. He pulls his bowstring back, aiming right at the enemy. The shot is so flawless it drops a flying beast instantly. Right alongside that, one of the villain's goons takes a rock to the face and coughs up blood. Back takes out the lackey and the creature tracking our group. Even so, the wild leader just grumbles, not caring about his losses. Full of himself, he provokes the squad, calling everyone out to fight. His aura is so heavy it makes him look like a real monster. Manhwa and the big guy formed the front line to the clash. No one saw that coming, but Lei orders the team to fall back immediately. Mocking their retreat, the enemy lets out an evil laugh. Glancing back one last time, the boy watches the scene, looking dead serious. The villain taunts them, saying the team just let a massive problem walk away free. Hours later, the crew enters a super creepy forest. They push through the twisted trees while the rain pours down. Every branch snapping on the ground makes a huge noise in the dark woods. Suddenly, RMC feels a heavy vibe in the air and clenches his fist from pure tension. Walking close to the boss, he notices bugs crawling near them. The captain tells him to stay sharp, because anyone who gets lost here turns into fertilizer real fast. Right after, the archer warns the kid to watch out for the mutation points on his body. Fully focused, the boy listens to the tip, knowing how dangerous this place is. Then, the shooter takes a quick look around to check out the area. He quickly hands over a pill, explaining that it helps slow down the mark from spreading. Without hesitating, our boy takes the stuff and says thanks for the backup. Man, the veteran's eyes change right here, spotting something in the dark. Quickly, he draws his bow, aiming at the bushes, and yells, "They got company." Suddenly, a loud rustling noise echoes heavily through the whole forest. Jumping from the shadows, a nasty horde of giant wolves charges at the squad. The big guy pulls out his shield and steps onto the front line. Cold and calculated, the kid starts counting the numbers and goes past 19. But he notices over 100 starving beasts glaring at the team from deep in the woods. Wasting no time, the leader gets ready to brawl. Taking point, Lei drops his max power and orders the squad to run away. Instantly, the shooter yells for everybody to bounce. Glancing back, he anxiously checks on the captain fighting behind them. He notices our MC froze in place and screams at him to move. Furious, the archer yells that the old man can hold his own and the kid is just in the way. Meanwhile, the big guy dives into the fray without thinking twice. The play now is using the trees to set up a natural defense barrier. Having the back covered, the boss goes all out against the wolves. Using pure strength, the boss tosses all the wolves away, except one of the monsters leaps straight for his neck with sharp fangs. Our MC watches from afar as Lei fights the creatures. The archer screams at the kid to get out, since he's only messing things up. During that chaos, it's pretty clear the whole squad has insane teamwork. Our boy grips his stick tight and bolts right out of there, heading straight for his teammate's blind spot. The female teammate readies her skill to back up the crew. Since the team has battle experience, they quickly fall into their fighting positions. Our MC sprints, trying to escape the forest. The battle goes hard against the monsters. The leader runs, baiting the beasts exactly where he wants them. The starving creatures rush in, holding nothing back. The boss sprints as fast as he can. When the beast jumps ripping through the air, the big guy launches a counterattack without blinking, smashing the beast dead on with heavy pressure. Seconds later, he's about to get shredded by the monster, when suddenly a green light tears through the beast's side with insane precision. With the monster already down, he thanks his partner. Relieved, the archer watches him from up in a tree. Clearly, the fight isn't over yet. The boss is still surrounded by the beasts. The shooter quickly realizes they still need a hand. He keeps clearing the way with pure punches against the pack. Manhwa ducks down fast and joins the brawl. There are too many beasts, and they're getting wilder by the second. The archer sees the kid on the ground and yells for him to run. The MC pushes toward the archer, ready to attack. The archer gets spooked by the rat attacking right at him, but he gets way more impressed by our boy watching his back. Completely surprised by the scene, our MC proves his training days weren't for nothing. The rookie dodges fast and sinks his blade into the target's neck. He realizes there's more coming his way. He attacks the wolves with his knife, slashing them all down with a single strike. Proving his blade is sharp, the wolves get scared seeing what our MC just did. After that, our boy gets into a fighting stance, ready for whatever comes next. The archer is blown away by what he's watching. Right then, the alpha of the pack pops up in front of our MC. Catching his breath, the kid notes the stone heals the body but doesn't give back stamina. He clenches his fist hard, knowing his physical training can still handle a fight. The real problem is the mutation mark throbbing worse and worse on his arm. Far from there, Lei spots the kid in danger. Our MC drops to the ground from pure exhaustion. The wolf notices that our boy is weak. Going all out, the wolf charges in to attack our MC. Locking his eyes on the wolf, our boy dodges and buries the blade in the wolf's neck. The creature just face plants into the dirt without a single sign of life. Glancing sideways, the MC swears he's seeing things in the background. Something super weird starts drawing his attention on the fresh corpse. Crazy enough, the beast's shadow is literally melting into the floor. This dark stain comes alive and starts crawling straight toward him. Spooked by what's going down, the MC stares completely frozen, seeing the exact same thing happen to the other beasts. Nobody knows what's up when a dark force swallows the kid right up. Inside, the boy feels an evil eating at his body and gets totally lost. A creepy human-shaped mark shows up right in his eye. The forest finally calms down. Taking a deep breath, the boy tries to stand up after all that chaos. His first move is touching his chest to check the sacred stone. The amulet blinks brightly, confirming it's still working fine. Kuo Gui walks over, praising his stance, and tells him to take a well-deserved break. He mentions the horde will fall back since they burn too much energy here. Asking if he's all in one piece, our boy nods without talking much. The kid realizes he's being called and throws his hand up. Manhwa tosses him a vital item, getting a nod of thanks. Our MC spots the archer high up in the tree. The archer watches our boy with a suspicious glare. He ignores the archer and just keeps moving. In all that darkness, he reveals the spheres given by Manhwa. The cool part is, they're 3 white pills giving off a soft glow. Wasting zero time, the kid sits down to meditate and speed up his healing. Half an hour later, silence and darkness still rule the area. Then he wakes up, noticing right away the vibe around him changed. That sounds super weird since the evil inside him feels untouched. Staring at his own arm, our MC notices an insane difference. And check this out. Pulling off the bandage, he sees one of the marks is gone. Logically, if the cure is clean, it's wild that his strength stayed the same. Feeling the power pulsing, he suspects the stone absorbed that shadow. Confusion is painted all over the kid's face while he looks at that amulet. That mysterious reaction makes him question where this rock came from, leaving him wondering what kind of dark and toxic threat that was. Out of nowhere, his teammate's voice echoes, running toward him in the dark. He glances at the scene, but totally ignores the veteran's warning. Turning his face to the horde, he figures the danger doesn't matter much anymore. Right on time, Lei dashes past and charges straight at the monsters. He raises his weapon hyper-focused to crush the beasts. Letting out a deafening roar, he taunts the pack to bring it on. After all, the past doesn't matter. His only mission right now is survival. A bit later, under the moonlight, the whole woods sink into a tense silence. The wolf just keeps watching the squad. Losing patience, the group gets ready to go all out again. The wolves gave up on the fight. Man, right there he gets hyped, hitting the 3rd level. Something super sketchy ends up standing out in the middle of all this growth. Looking out of the corner of his eye, the kid catches a heavy distortion nearby. The big guy then greets our MC. He throws a hand up and says, "Fist bump, right here." With the beasts fully retreating, the team takes a deep breath without fear. The threats fade into the dark, bringing peace back at least for now. Our boy just crashes into the dirt from all the stacked up exhaustion. Closing his eyes, our boy remembers the face in the sky over his village. She actually turns to the rookie and drops a really genuine thank you. The boss walks over, praising the guy and gives him a friendly pat. The big guy promises that without this crucial backup, someone would have snapped already. Staying quiet, our MC stares blankly, playing back the tense fight in his head. The giant holds the sketchy item, not getting why the box looks worn out. Inspecting the piece closely, the mage puts the whole squad on defense. The boss is surprised by one thing. Under pressure, the giant swears he bought it thinking it was a simple repellent. His teammate says the big guy didn't like the reward. Getting nervous, the meathead tries to explain that's not it at all. Yeah, and the kid also stared at the item, realizing the massive scale of the problem. Stuck in place, the big guy feels super guilty for the dangerous screw-up. At that moment, the captain grabs his shoulder and says he already knows who set up this coward move. They both trade a dead serious look, having the exact same suspect in mind. Boiling with rage, Lei drops the rival's name, the Blood Shadow Squad. The mage warns that the team can't handle another fight if they run into another one of their traps. That leaves the captain wondering if they should pull back or just stick to the mission. All around them, the dark forest seems to hide way more lethal dangers. Then the archer points out the target is close, but the squad's exhaustion is dragging them down. Super frustrated, the giant snaps a ration bar right in half with his hands. Refusing to back down, the archer won't accept going home empty-handed. Taking a deep breath, the boss gathers the courage to lay it all out right there. The order is to push forward, grab the herb, and split up to head back to base safely. Right away, the squad gears up and keeps walking through the dark woods. Shortly after, they reach a spot completely covered in roots. Breaking through the dark, these rare plants give off a really soft glow around the area. Checking out the zone, the kid realizes it's the 7-leaf grass everyone wants so badly. Our MC stops dead in his tracks because he felt something. He notices there's something else lurking in this forest. Focusing hard, he starts looking around. Our boy begins to feel the energy flowing through that spot. Watching the roots closely, he shoots a suspicious glare right at his own shadow. The kid realizes his shadow isn't the same, reflecting whatever is inside him. Chilling there, our MC stands still with his shadow covering the dirt right in front of him. And just like that, everything changed. The veteran hands him a bag as a reward for his work. Whispering, he explains this rare item unlocks hidden potential but requires an antidote. Thanking him for the high-tier loot, the kid gets ready to go his own way. The archer steps up telling him to stay sharp and sets up a meetup back at the main camp. Right after that, the boy marches off alone to the middle of those creepy, quiet woods. Deciding not to mess with the item just yet, he saves it to check out later when things chill. Hours later, he's relieved the monsters down below didn't spot him at all. But the peace breaks when a massive crash shakes the tree where he was resting. Pushing through the heady fog, he wonders what the heck caused that hit. Moving fast, the kid crouches down to spy on the mess down below. His focus is completely locked in, mapping out every detail of the brawl without blinking. Man, there are multiple allies down on the ground. The rival squad set up a scumbag trap. Yelling from the back, the veteran promises he's going to wipe the floor with all of them, ready to face off against 2 super high-level enemies. At the same time, 3 weaker opponents completely block their escape route. Doing the math, our MC decides to clear out the 3 weaklings before focusing on the big threat. With zero warning, a fatal strike tears through the wind, dropping one of the guys instantly. Jumping straight into action, our hero shocks everyone with a speed nobody saw coming. Right then, he takes down the next target from behind, completely shutting the guy down. Focused to the core, the kid is already calculating the distance to his next opponent. Spinning his blade, he bodies the enemy without giving him a single chance to fight back. The boy realizes he actually underestimated the overall strength of the enemy crew. Panicking, the boss screams for the kid to get out of there as fast as possible. Without blinking, the boy holds his ground ready to clash with whoever is left standing. A rival praises the rookie's damage but quickly sentences him to death, showing no mercy. Knowing a good offense is the best defense, our boy bends his knees and charges right in. Mocking him, the bald enemy laughs at the kid's blind courage in the fight. Soon the big guy leaps to crush the kid, who slides underneath him scraping the dirt. Except the weight of that dodge ends up snapping a bone in his arm with a nasty crack. Swallowing the pain, he tightens his good hand and glares with pure killer instinct. Throwing all his strength into a punch, he loads it with a crazy, suffocating pressure. The impact shatters Baldy's defense, sending the giant flying through the air like a rag doll. Trying to keep some distance, the boy slides backward, cooling down the fight's pace a bit. Laughing with a bloody mouth, the villain flexes the massive level gap between them. Our hero just holds his busted arm, trying to endure the ridiculous pain from that hit. The team's mage swears he's gonna drain the kid's life in a flash. With a snap of his fingers, this sorcerer summons some floating spheres. They fly straight toward our MC. Rolling to the side, our boy dodges one of the spells. Furious, the meathead warns the kid that running away is useless. Our MC grabs the body of one of the enemies to use as a meat shield. Using the dead weight, he tosses the rival away, landing right in the middle of the magic attack. The crash triggers an energy blast that pretty much wipes out the entire area. Dodging the enemy's attack, the boy jumps up. Out of nowhere, a creepy figure pops out of the smoke, teasing that it's too late now. That catches the kid completely off guard, scrambling his whole battle logic on the spot. Because of that, the boy gets completely swallowed by the explosion. This sends the kid flying far away. The dust settles, revealing a giant crater where total chaos just went down. A voice echoes demanding respect and slams the big guy's face into the dirt with heavy pressure. Even damaged, the guy is built different and tanks another brutal hit without crumbling. Right then, a lone blade pierces the fog, marking the arrival of some solid backup. Dark spikes shoot up from the ground, trapping the villain, who now screams in ugly pain. The MC lands smoothly on the dirt, keeping his eyes on the rival who refuses to give up. Furious, the bald guy growls that the kid keeps running from death like a pest. Completely losing his mind, he swears he'll rip the kid's teeth out to keep as a trophy. Minutes later, that heavy smoke dropped by the mage still covers the whole battlefield. Locked onto his rival, our hero promises to tank the hits to see who drops first. Like a ghost, he dances through the dirt, dodging punches with some cracked reflexes. Panting hard, the villain realizes the kid's stamina won't run out and decides to go all out. With no options left, the crazy dude clenches his hand, tearing his own skin with his teeth. The guy pulls off a heavy sacrifice right in the middle of the fight. His blood boils, creating some hellish heat, ready to become a devastating weapon. Filled with deadly hate, he throws a heavy, suffocating storm right at the boy. Cold and calculated, the kid notices the guy's desperation and finds an opening for a counterattack. He just sinks his hand into the dirt and pulls up a shield to protect himself. Hiding behind the shield, he waits for the brutal impact of that crazy power to hit hard. The shockwave crushes his defense and sweeps our hero away, ripping through the air non-stop. He controls his fall, locking his stance to turn the tables right there. Super desperate, the big guy stretches his arm out, screaming the name of his ultimate move. Except the kid lands, shattering the floor, causing an earthquake that shakes the rival. That stumble freezes the enemy, who shakes all over while facing our MC's cold glare. Shook, the fighter's brain can't process how that kid survived all of that. Moving fast, the boy's hand pierces the target's guard and finishes the fight by force. Stepping back immediately, the kid drops the giant's wrecked body right onto the arena floor. Looking at his own palm, he figures out that mixing the poison with the crystal gave him the juice. Laying there, the warrior stutters, swallowing blood to beg his boss for help. Captain Thunder shows up and blocks the rescue, taking the heat of the fight onto himself. Frustration shuts the rival leader's mouth as he starts huffing with pure rage right away. With no help coming, the hurt body on the ground starts mutating into some weird rock. Panicking, the boss screams his ally's name right as the whole thing blows up. Soon the dust settles, revealing a weird vibe and someone watching from a distance. Our MC turns his body super slowly, sensing a heavy presence in the area. Without blinking, he locks on to the last rival and tells him he's up next. But the dude just turns his back and starts dipping out of there in the middle of the chaos. Completely silent, the boy walks forward while the villain just watches. Tired of this, the meathead loses it and charges in to finish the job. The giant rushes in with bad intentions, but the rival doesn't even turn his head to look. Right then, the captain holds him back, saying the threat is already over, right there. Our hero heavily disagrees, promising they can take that crazy guy down right now. Just in time, the veteran gets a coughing fit, looking like he's feeling really sick. Worried, the kid runs over to support his friend without understanding what's wrong. Looking at the weird sky, he mentions he's seen that creepy weather before. A heavy wind sweeps through the dry forest, making a really scary noise. Man, right at that moment, a bizarre song echoes along with some tense fog. Ignoring the madness, the rival keeps sinking deeper into the mist. They both keep their guard up, realizing the deadly danger of that singing. A freezing chill hits our MC, something not even his level 3 can endure. And suddenly, the kid's pupils shrink from pure shock at the scene. Spooked, he notices even the villain froze on the path like a popsicle. Further back, the giant is also shaking non-stop, losing control of his body. And that's where it gets crazy. An absurd scream of pain cuts through the whole forest. It's wild, the guy's soul looks like it's being ripped straight out of his eyes and mouth. He thrashes in agony while some weird force shatters his body from the inside. Drowning in that fog, the villain twitches all over until he turns into dust in the air. The same scary fate sweeps over the bodies of the other warriors on the ground. Seconds later, there's absolutely nothing left of the enemy leader but dirt. Shook, our MC stands frozen, unable to believe that broken power. Then, a pair of boots shows up walking through the woods to the rhythm of the tune. The footsteps stop out of nowhere, making that cursed song echo even louder. You can see the exact reflection of the mystery figure right in the kid's eyes. Completely confused, they both stare at whoever is walking toward them. Taking its time, the ghost starts walking again, stepping heavy in their direction. Captain Lay's eyes go wide, looking like he recognizes that ghost from his past. Whispering an old name, he asks if it's the girl, right as she stops there. Trying to help, the boy grabs the veteran's arm since he's shaking from head to toe. The creepy figure takes one more step, locking that tense vibe into the area. Full of emotion, the old man stutters, asking if the woman finally came back. Instantly, he reaches out both shaky hands trying to touch that illusion. Tears fall non-stop because his brain refuses to accept what's happening. Then he collapses into the dirt, crying and sobbing, losing every bit of his cool. On his knees and defeated, the captain fully gives up in front of that fake figure. And that ghost just stands there watching the guy suffer up close. During all this painful drama, that creepy melody just keeps on playing. Our hero moves a finger and notices the freezing weakness vanished out of nowhere. Standing up, he realizes his body is back to normal and the worst is over. Turning his head, he finds the veteran still sprawled out, crying like a baby. Sometime later, the duo stares at the dirty sky while a vibe of mourning wraps around them. Wiping his face, the old man warns that anyone who hears that singing ends up dead. Except he was one of the rare survivors, which grants a cursed gift from there. Legend says the survivor sees who they love most, and he waited decades for this. Shaking a bit, he admits he saw the girl, but deep down he knew it was just an illusion. That hits the kid hard, admitting he has someone he'd give anything to see too. Looking at their dead allies, he decides to at least secure peace for their souls. To him, warriors just need to return to the dirt and rest without anything fancy. Staying quiet, the captain just listens to some heavy wisdom coming from such a young kid. Wasting no time, our MC touches him and swears he's gonna get his buddy out of there. Using a ton of effort, he pulls the hurt veteran up and tosses him on his own back. His eyes burn with drive, ready to walk through hell to save his friend. And that's exactly how he carries the wounded boss right out of that nightmare. Halfway there, the fog got super thick, and hiding the big guy turned into an impossible mission. But check this out. The crystal in his chest actually started purifying the air around them. Rescuing people there, he charged meds as payment and bumped into his own team. His ally points to Master Bai's tent, guaranteeing that's where the boss's salvation is. Inside, the healer washes his hands, telling everybody to spill the problem already. Full of attitude, the doctor throws a heavy glare, waiting for the crew to explain the mess. Right beside him, a nice girl just watches everything with a little smirk. Out of nowhere, the master pierces our MC's soul with a really creepy stare. The kid shakes in his boots, remembering the pressure from an annoying teacher in the past. Losing patience, the medic notices the weight on his back and tells him to drop it on the floor. Super carefully, our hero lays the old man on the dirt to get some first aid. Waking up startled, the captain opens his eyes, completely lost in that room. He steps closer, asking the guy not to push himself because help has already arrived. Way too proud, the injured guy tries to stand up, swearing it's just a little scratch. Then, the wise man asks where they met, and the leader says it was a long time ago. Checking the damage, Bai declares his body is ruined on the inside and beyond repair. The prescription now is just to delay death, and fighting again is a guaranteed game over. Showing lots of humility, the big guy bows, thanking the doctor for the reality check. Cold and practical, he turns to our hero and the rest of the team, telling everyone to scram. Nobody dares talk back, and the whole crew says their goodbyes, stepping outside for air. Out in the open, the leader pulls out that classic pipe and takes a really deep drag. Blowing smoke right in the kid's face, he gets a super confused look out of him. The smile returns to his face, claiming nicotine beats any medicine out there. Trying to calm the boy, the veteran swears his shell is just old and there's nothing to fear. Changing the subject, he asks what today's feast is gonna be, and our MC asks for snake. Being smart, the boss doesn't let him go buy it, since the folks there are always scamming. But the kid is positive nobody there would be crazy enough to try and hustle him. Wasting no time, the sword buddy runs off to speed up dinner back at the camp. Minutes later, the kid is sitting there drooling over a fully loaded table. He locks his eyes on that royal feast, with his mind wandering off in thoughts. Right then, an extra bowl lands in the corner, making the table complete for dinner. They got everything: eggs, fancy meat, a big plate of greens set up for 2 people. And the captain's deep voice jokes that today is a lucky day for the duo's taste buds. holding a dangerous snake in his hand. The old man swears that beast's meat is pure gold. The boy practically jumps out of his chair without taking his eyes off the exotic dinner dangling there. Flexing his skills, the cook on duty shows off the beast looking like a master chef. Laying the beast on the table, he keeps it real, asking if the kid wants to learn the art. Fully locked in, the boy nods, confirming he's dying to get his hands on that recipe. He lets out a loud laugh, calling his student closer, super happy to teach the method. And the cooking class kicks off with a clean slice, cutting the venomous monster's skin. He explains you gotta wash it well, gut it, and only then chop it up to cook. But watch this, the chopped snake head snaps out of nowhere and almost bites the captain. Chopping the meat, the older guy teaches that normally you throw the head and tail away. Actually, if you remove the venom the right way, the head makes the flavor way better. Then he tosses everything into boiling water and says the secret to the meat is the broth. The master trick is frying the pieces before dropping them in the soup to make it tastier. With the food ready and steaming, the old man asks if he got it, and the kid nods. Right after, the leader pulls out a flask and mentions wine is super rare at the camp. With no hesitation, he tips the bottle back, enjoying it, and takes a massive gulp. A sigh of satisfaction escapes, showing he's really soaking in the moment. Our MC just stares at him, with a face that says he has absolutely no clue what's so good. Way too curious, the kid grabs the flask and asks if the stuff is really that good. He downs the liquid in one go while Captain Thunder watches him closely, but he immediately makes a grossed out face, and the old man bursts out laughing at the scene. With his tongue sticking out, the boy complains that the stuff tastes awful. Laughing, the old man tells him he's too young for it, but one day he'll learn to like it. Now the food is finally served, with a pot full of snake soup and some side dishes. The leader takes the lid off the pot, letting that delicious steam rise up. That sight drives the kid crazy with hunger, ready to devour the whole thing. Wasting no time, he dips his chopsticks into the pot to grab his first piece. Quickly, the kid is already stuffing snake meat into his face along with a bowl of rice. Lei watches him eat in a desperate way and gets lost in thought. Deep down, he thinks it's a shame a kid has to live in such a brutal world. Pausing his meal, the boy looks worried and asks about the boss's injury. The older guy calms the kid down, saying he made it this far and won't drop that easily. To cut the talk short, he turns his face away and swears everything is fine. With empty plates, the old man laughs, saying they crushed the whole snake and all the wine. Then he gets up, says he's gonna crash, and leaves the dirty dishes for tomorrow. Walking slowly, he walks away toward a bright light in the middle of the snow. The kid realizes the boss's life force was kind of stolen by that illusion, and that fills the boy with some ridiculous determination. The next day, the landscape wakes up completely covered in a blanket of snow. Looking over, our MC says good morning and calls the person his benefactor. It's the pharmacy girl waving a broom at him from a distance. When he gets closer, he doesn't recognize her right away and asks who she is. She reminds him he's the one who saved her skin by swapping spots in the fighting arena. Then it clicks for him and he drops an "Oh, it's you." Touching the scar on her face, the girl says she barely made it out alive. Changing the topic, she asks what he wants, and our MC asks for the white pills. The young girl asks for a second, drops her broom, and runs inside. Inside the tent, she searches through everything, grumbling that the pills should be right there. Patiently, the boy waits with his arms crossed outside, listening to her looking around, until he hears an excited yell of "Found it!" coming from the back. She comes sprinting back top speed right at the kid. Handing over the bag, the girl apologizes because the master only lets herself 5 a day. Our MC immediately grabs one of the pills to check if the product is actually good. Impressed, he asks if giving away something that high quality won't get her in trouble. Giving a little wink, the girl swears it's chill and that this is her power. He says thanks, but the girl cuts him off, saying she's the one who owes him her life. But suddenly the tone shifts, and she warns him lots of young people are vanishing in the forbidden zone. Paying close attention, he hears her say it looks more like human work than natural danger. Dead serious. She tells him to watch his back, and our boy thanks her for the heads up. The girl waves goodbye while he goes on his way, sinking his feet into the snow. Taking one last look back, he sees the girl standing at the door leaning on her broom. His eyes lock right onto the scar crossing the girl's smile. And that's when he gets a light bulb moment. He remembers the old man's story about a mystic 7-color stone that heals scars. Instantly, he decides he's gonna hunt down that stone to help the girl out whenever he can. Back at the camp, a loud noise of barking dogs breaks the silence of the area. Walking to the gate, he comes face to face with a massive pack of wild dogs. Completely confused, he just stares at the beasts, trying to figure out what happened. The swordsman shows up and says Loya brought the dogs to protect the captain. On top of that, they brought enough meds for a whole month and the cash from the last mission. holding the coins. The girl says they split the dead guy's cut between the four of them, and the extra cleansing pill they got as a bonus. The captain decided to pass to the kid. Shizi mentions they picked up another mission and tosses a brand new dagger into our MC's hands. To top it off, she hands him a whistle so the boy can control the pack way easier. Hyped, the warrior gives the kid a light fist bump on the chest for camaraderie. With the dagger and whistle in hand, he gives his partners a steady look. Turning their backs, they tell the boy to take really good care of the leader while they're gone. Master and students stay at the gate, watching the duo vanish into the horizon. Then he turns his head and stares down the angry dogs that now obey only him. With his blood boiling, our MC decides he's not gonna just wait around, he needs to act. Now the scene shifts straight to the creepy entrance of the famous Forbidden Zone. His goal is a rare flower capable of healing anything, even a chopped off arm or leg. He found out about it from Dr. Bai and decided to risk it all to heal the old man. Walking through there, he thinks about how nice it was listening to that old medic's teachings. All alone, the kid pushes through the dense woods with no fear of what's coming next. The orange sky lights up his journey through the middle of the dangerous bushes. Walking past ancient stone ruins, he searches absolutely every single corner. Several days have passed on this hunt and still no sign of the flower or the colored stone. Never giving up, he crosses the canyon from the last mission and pushes even deeper, until he comes face to face with a massive abandoned Buddha statue in the forest. That giant structure against the afternoon sun makes for an insanely beautiful scene. Looking at the ruins, he wonders if people in the future will also step in there feeling scared. Taking a deep breath, he breaks into the ancient temple complex looking for answers, but the place's weird energy pushes him away, forcing the kid to find shelter for the night. Taking cover in an empty temple, he sees animal tracks and figures the spot is safe to sleep. With his eyes closed, he realizes his power grows way faster inside the zone. All the good energy he pulls and tears through him and buffs his muscles instantly. Meanwhile, the dirty energy seems to get swallowed up by that weird shadow of his. Satisfied, the kid lets out a sigh and calls it a day for his training. And that's where it gets crazy. That deadly chill invades the temple and footsteps start creeping around. Luckily, the illusion music isn't playing today, so he can still move his body. Hours pass and the weird pacing outside just won't quit. Those dragging sounds in the sand keep getting louder and closer to the door. Spooked, the kid notices there's a crazy amount of things walking around outside. Not taking any chances, he holds back his curiosity and stays totally quiet in a hidden corner. But suddenly, a dull thud echoes inside the temple, breaking the silence. His blood runs cold, realizing something nasty just made its way inside. Outside, the crescent moon gives just a faint glow to the area, and out of nowhere, a horde of shadow beasts surrounds the temple entrance. The worst part is one of those shadows stops right at the door, ready to attack. Staying hidden, the boy tries to come up with a way to stay completely out of sight, because even if he takes out this creature, there's still a whole crowd outside. Except then he notices a super weird flash in the air. That bright golden light reflects directly in his eyes. In seconds, the whole place gets completely lit up. The two guardian statues start giving off some cracked power, taking over the entire main hall. He quickly opens his eyes wide, totally unable to believe it. This purifying energy blasts the monsters, making them all back off. Right off the bat, the beasts turn into white dust, just touching the light, and that monster that got inside takes a violent hit, sending it flying backward, screaming its lungs out while the energy melts its body away. The creature gets dragged across the floor without a single chance, until it evaporates for good, right in the middle of the hall. Check out what happens. One of the guardians moves and draws a sword, gripping the weapons held with pure strength. The giant guardian stands up out of nowhere, overflowing with power. With a heavy stomp, it starts walking down the stairs. Right after that, it jumps from the top straight into the darkness, wielding the massive blade with serious style, and unleashes an insanely heavy spinning strike. That creates a devastating arc right at the horde. One of the monsters takes the hit dead on and screams in pain, melting the beast's face off in a split second, leaving zero trace. It just vanishes into thin air. Slowly, the flash from the strike spreads across the hall. The rest of the pack just stares from outside, looking like they don't understand a thing about that overwhelming strength. But the damage is done, and the shadows pull back, turning to dust. Just so you know, the floor actually cracks right where the sword went through. Way in the back, we see another giant skeleton statue sitting on a throne. Finishing the defense, the two guardians turn back into just stone, and that deadly silence takes over the place once again. Our MC peeks from behind the pillar, totally mind-blown. With the danger gone, he gathers his courage and steps out of hiding, walking super slowly toward that skeleton. Then he digs around his bag for something. The kid lights a candle and places it right in front of the statue, paying respects and thanking them for saving his skin. Mission accomplished, and there he heads straight for the exit. He pushes through the forest with his brain running a million miles an hour, because even without finding the plant, he grabbed plenty of expensive herbs. On the way back, he tries copying the Guardian Strike for some training. Unexpectedly, he levels up to the 4th stage and doubles his strength. Hyped about it, he plants his foot firmly on the ground to test it again. That focused look says he's more than ready. His punch rips through the air, creating some ridiculous pressure. Just to give you an idea, the forest snaps a bunch of dry branches nearby. Satisfied with the result, he gives a slight smirk. Back at the camp, the boy heads straight for the cabin. Silently, he sneaks in quietly so he doesn't wake anybody up. But the doctor was already waiting, telling him dinner is ready. Our MC notices the older guy looks insanely tired. There is a full feast laid out right on the table. Did he really cook and wait all this time? While eating, the doctor asks if he ran into any danger in the zone. He spills everything about the shadows getting wiped out by the statue. Impressed, the old man says he thought that was just a myth. Looks like the temple legend started right alongside the haunted song. The kid listens to every single detail with his ears wide open, and soon the doctor cracks a smile, telling him to chill out a bit, having a peaceful dinner for the rest of the night. Over the next few days, the camp routine goes back to normal. We even see our boy enjoying a more relaxing bath, but his mind just won't stop hammering away at some ideas. Throwing his clothes on real fast, he gets dressed in his room. Then he steps out walking casually around the area. He mentally goes over the names of a few rare plants, smiling to himself for not being late to class today. During the lecture, the teacher shows how to extract essences. When the topic wraps up, the instructor was about to walk out of the tent. Suddenly, the man stops dead and stares at the boy, asking him straight up what he wants around here. The kid walks up kind of awkward and says he's got a question. That's the yellow flower he grabbed out in the forest. Instantly, Master Bo gets a really serious look on his face. The plant almost looks like it's glowing right in the kid's hand, checking every petal with a suspicious and serious stare. And that's where it gets crazy. He warns him it's not the flower of destiny. Looking visibly bummed out, RMC thanks him for the help. He turns around and leaves, being watched closely by the teacher, heading back into his own space right after. Inside, the visitor in purple was already waiting for him. The instructor doesn't hide that he's sick and tired of the crazy guy. Chilling in his seat, the visitor starts making conversation. He asks about a few things, but the master plays dumb. The guy casually mentions the kid was able to body a monster. Taking a sip of his drink, the master listens calmly. Surprisingly enough, he admits he almost kicked the kid out. Laughing freely, the man says the master is actually a softie, but the teacher fires back saying only pure power fixes everything around there. Not knowing what to say, the visitor makes an excuse that he's got to bounce. Changing the topic, he leaves some golden advice for his buddy. This would be the perfect chance to see just how far the kid can go. Back in class, the teacher gets that really wasp look on his face. The students even whisper to each other about the lesson right in front of him. Deep down, the older guy is just buying time to test the rookie. By then, the morning sun is already shining through the wooden bedroom window. Our boy writes down every single detail he learned on a bamboo slip. Copying perfectly, he gets the exact recipe for the lung-calming essence. With his writing done, the kid looks up highly focused. The next few days have him secretly listening to class from outside and writing it all down at home. And with the sales money, the captain made sure they had hot meals. During dinner, the old man loved telling a bunch of camp stories. That was super cool for him, and having the duo visit just hyped things up even more. Smiling, he realizes this was the happiest time of his whole life. But our one heavy rainy night, a hooded figure just stands right outside the tent. Inside, one of the female students notices the massive storm pouring down. Shocked, she points out how stubborn the rookie is for showing up in this weather. Master Bo then calls on a student to explain a medicinal herb. Stuttering hard, the guy completely fails to remember the answer. With zero patience, the instructor calls him clueless and passes it to another girl. She actually remembers part of the name, but apologizes for forgetting the rest. Frustrated, the old guy slams his hand right on the table. Meanwhile, the MC stays out in the rain wearing his cape and straw hat. Raindrops crash heavily against the canvas of the teacher's tent. And that's where it gets crazy. His voice echoes from outside, dropping the perfect answer. Breaking down every detail, he explains where it grows and the plant's toxic side. Master Bull throws more tough questions, and the kid nails every single symptom and cure. Inside the tent, the whole vibe completely shifts. Satisfied, the teacher says he's tested him enough and opens the floor for questions. Clenching his fist, the boy shows some serious determination. He bows down, dropping several complex questions about mixing herbs. Hearing that, the master feels proud and starts breaking them down one by one. Without wasting a second, our MC jots all the tips down on his bamboo. Outside, the storm shows zero signs of stopping. He then says thanks for the answers and mentions he's leaving so he won't be a bother. This is where it gets good. The teacher tells him to stop hiding out there. Starting tomorrow, the kid is officially invited to step inside the tent. This catches the boy off guard, leaving him ridiculously happy. Quickly, he does a massive bow to show his thanks for the shot. At lunch the next day, the captain celebrates that he's a legit disciple now. The old man even gives him fresh clothes so he looks sharp and clean for his studies. Eating eagerly, the MC says, "Thanks for the present." Right after, the old guy grabs a wine flask so he doesn't show up to class empty-handed. Fully prepped, the kid shows off a bag of coins he's gonna use to pay the master. He agrees to take the drink too since the teacher loves a good sip. Soon after, he hangs the bottle on his waist, all set to head out. Captain Lane notices the kid has never looked this glowing with joy before. Morning hits the camp and folks are already on their usual grind. Looking fresh, our MC shows up in style for his first day of class. From the front door, the old man watches him getting ready and notes he's looking sharp. He then drops some advice, telling the kid not to be shy about asking questions. Hyped up, the boy points to the drink on his waist, making sure he didn't forget a thing. With everything good to go, he starts walking toward the tent while the captain watches closely. Halfway there, the kid turns around and tells the old guy to go inside and rest. But the old man says he's chill and tells him to hurry up so he isn't late. Waving back, the kid keeps pushing forward on his path. That look from the captain was just overflowing with pride and a soft smile. And off goes our MC to officially kick off his student life. Inside, he thinks back on how his routine shifted since that first day of class. After his studies, he always hits the forbidden zone to practice what he learned. Knowing about the forest poisons, the kid even builds a little shack to study safely. He uses his resistance to mix various toxins and craft a super corrosive powder. Just to give you an idea, this stuff melts anything in a matter of 5 seconds. The boy even tried brewing potions for the captain, but the master warns that only the flower can fix it. Except even searching everywhere, there was zero sign of that rare plant. Nothing worked, and he kept seeing the old guy get worse every day, coughing nonstop. That just left the kid feeling super heartbroken. Just like that, 2 whole months fly by at the camp. Walking up to one of the tents, a little girl spots him from a distance. She flashes a huge smile the second she recognizes our boy. The little kid already grabs the wine he usually buys and calls him Big Bro. Grateful, he takes the drink while she replies with pure joy. But as he starts to walk away, the girl notices something is off. Right away, she sees his sad look and asks him to wait a quick second. Telling him she doesn't know why he's feeling so down, she says sweets always fix a bad mood. She opens her little hand, offering him the very last candy she had. With a massive smile, she says goodbye and tells her big bro to cheer up. The MC just stands there, moved by how sweet the kid was. Gripping the candy, his eyes lock in with a brand new determination. Later that day, the sunset is already hitting the captain's place. Standing at the entrance, the old man was already waiting for him. The old guy gives a soft smile, thanks him for the wine, and calls him inside for dinner. At the table, the vibe was pretty quiet until the old man lit up his usual pipe. And just like that, everything changed. He drops a heavy look, ready to say something serious. Letting out a sigh, he calls the boy over. The captain keeps it real, saying his body just can't handle the scavenger grind anymore. He reveals he bought a pass to retire in another city and is heading out in the morning. Devastated by the news, the kid drops his head and asks if he'll ever come back. A super sad silence just hangs in the air between them. Ruffling the kid's hair, the captain promises to visit if he can. Desperate, the boy still tries to talk him into waiting for the duo of friends to return. Except the old guy declines, saying dragging out the goodbye would only hurt everyone more. Finishing his pipe, he tells them to come visit whenever they feel like it. After that, the dinner just sits there with nobody touching a thing. Later that night, the kid stays glued to the window staring at the moon. The house felt 1,000 times emptier and quieter in the dark. When dawn breaks, the old man already has his backpack on, ready to hit the road. Giving a final wave from afar, he tells the boy he's heading out. He runs after him, saying he'll escort the master to the exit. The old guy even tries sending him to school, but the kid puts his foot down. Full of stubbornness, he yells that he's tagging along no matter what. With no way out, the old dude just sighs and accepts the escort. Meanwhile, we see another badass squad pulling up near the base. On the road, the duo walks side by side in a really heavy silence. Trying to cut the tension, the old man lets out a real dad laugh. Our boy stays quiet, waiting to hear what's coming next. With a hand on the kid's shoulder, the captain starts dropping his final advice. He warns the kid not to underestimate the scavengers or the camp boss. And since the Voss Recept runs the area, the boy needs to keep his eyes wide open. Plus, he reminds the boy to feed the dogs and eat well to grow up strong, asking him not to sleep on the cold floor and to always dry his clothes in the sun. Right then, the old man tries to say something else but ends up holding back. Taking a deep breath, he turns around and continues his journey toward the horizon. Sometime later, he finally stops at the entrance of the massive Songtao city. The old guy turns to our MC, who escorted him there, and says the road ends here. Handing over his heavy bundle, Lei drops it right in the kid's hands. He ruffles the boy's hair, saying goodbye and explaining where he can be found in town. All he can do is watch his friend fade away into the middle of that crowd. Deep down it hurts, but he just keeps watching the old guy show his papers to the guard. Sadness hits hard, leaving the kid feeling more alone than ever. From up ahead, the old guy gives one last wave before the guard rushes him inside. And just like that, he crosses the giant city gates once and for all. The crowd around him just goes on with their lives under the evening sky. Now there's nothing left but to turn around and head back home. He walks back totally alone, leaving that giant city behind him. Super late at night, the boy wanders through the almost empty streets of the base. Suddenly, he lets out a loud whistle and a bunch of dogs run right at him. A whole pack surrounds our MC, all sitting down waiting for a command. Later on, he sits at a table fully loaded with food he cooked up. That delicious smell makes the kid's stomach growl instantly. Grabbing his chopsticks, he dives straight into the rice bowl. From the outside, two guys spy on his silhouette through the window. One of them thinks the boy is super loyal and suggests handing him a command token right away. But their boss would rather wait until they snag a rare flower in the Forbidden Zone. They vanish right after, zooming across the roof like two super fast shadows. That same night, other shadows start sprinting across the base's rooftops. The kids' dogs immediately get restless, growling at the air like they sense something. Something super strong makes the warehouse door glow in a creepy shade. From the inside, you can hear a click of someone trying to pick the lock. And outside, the pack gets super tense, not understanding what's going down. Meditating in there, the boy finally hits the 5th level of his technique. The massive creepy shadow rises right behind his back, overflowing with power. He tries to control the creature, but any command just triggers a massive headache. Bright and early, the camp routine goes right back to normal. Glancing sideways in the tent, he notices a girl stepping really close. With zero hesitation, she touches the kid's hair and notes he grew a bit. He feels a bit awkward and instantly tries stepping back for some distance. But the girl mentions he's always dirty and seems to change faces every day. That makes her curious to clean his face and see what he actually looks like. Quickly, she throws it in his face that he still owes her an old favor. Holding a little cloth, she just starts scrubbing the kid's cheek with no mercy. The kid just freezes while she wipes away all the dust super carefully. Racking up the job, the boy's real face is finally out in the open. Her eyes go wide, completely blushing when she realizes the kid is super handsome. Nearby, someone is definitely spying on the duo standing in front of the tent. But the second she turns her back, the boy crouches down and grabs dirt from the ground. Rubbing all that dirt on his face again, he leaves the girl super confused. The whole thing makes zero sense to her as she watches him walk away covered in dirt again. Completely lost, she goes to complain to an old guy about all her wasted effort. The old man then keeps it real, saying drawing attention around there never ends well. That answer drops the girl into total silence, just soaking in the advice. By late afternoon, an orange sky takes over the entire camp. Strolling casually, the boy is super hyped about finding the stone he needed. Out of nowhere, he bumps into a squad of hooded guys marching in formation. Some guy nearby warns him that's the execution squad from the Lidu sect. People whisper that those crazy dudes rarely show their faces around the base. According to the rumors, the group is hunting a VIP and already flipped the whole area upside down. They stop suddenly while one of the guys pulls out a giant spear. Surrounding a man in a red cape, they corner him and the little girl walking with him. Instantly, the entire squad kneels down to pay their respects to the man. The dude in the red cape turns his head, throwing a really heavy glare down the street. And what do you know? He locks eyes directly with our boy. That little girl next to him flashes a massive happy smile right away. Recognizing her, the MC grabs his pouch in pure shock. He squeezes the thing tight, protecting whatever he's keeping inside. Right in the middle of the crowd, the little girl keeps her eyes glued to him. Super cutely, she gives the giant next to her a few tugs on his cape. She tells her brother she found the boy who saved her life, and asks to be excused. The kid just stares, thinking this whole scene is pretty weird. Cutting through the crowd, she makes room until she reaches the boy. She gets close, saying her brother came to pick her up and even invites him to tag along. Except he just shakes his head and turns down the ride right away. That leaves the little girl with a totally bummed out face. Soon she smiles again, saying they'll bump into each other in the future so she can return the favor. Hearing that, the kid's look changes, and he seems to make a choice. She says her big bro takes good care of her, innocently asking if the MC has one too. He pulls that exact same colored stone he found in the forest right out of his pouch. Handing the item over as a gift, he mentions it's perfect for erasing scars. The little kid is amazed by how pretty that polished rock is. Holding the gift, she promises with absolute certainty that they'll see each other again, and she runs off super happy back into her older brother's arms. All the kid wishes now is for the little one to stay completely safe out there. 7 days later, reality fully hits when Master Bai announces he's leaving too. He silently drops to his knees, letting the golden emblem hit the dirt. Paying his respects, he thanks the doctor for the valuable recipe he taught him in secret. The medic comes clean, saying he taught him everything because he hates his clan's boring rules. He'd rather travel and spread his art than let medicine get lost in traditions. Turned away, the old guy drops some philosophy saying life is just an inn and time is a traveler. Smiling softly, he guarantees that as long as they're both alive, destiny will bring them back together. But the kid stays there, promising himself he'll be a strong guy when they meet again. Later on, the scene shifts to the quiet rooftops of the camp. The camera focuses straight on an extra cup of liquor sitting there. Our MC stares at the cup, feeling the crushing weight of being completely alone. Downing the drink in one go, he notices the wine finally started to taste good. That sweet image of the smiling girl is the only thing pushing the loneliness away right now. The little girl's voice still echoes in his head, asking about his brother. Then we see the full moon lighting up everything outside through the window. Leaning against the wall, the boy is still holding the bottle of booze. He then repeats the medic's words about life just being an inn. Flashing back to the goodbye, he says time is a traveler until they meet again. And man, right at that moment, an old dude with a creepy smile shows up stroking his beard. Bathed in moonlight, the kid downs another gulp of wine. But he quickly senses a weird vibe and yells out, asking who's there. Getting spooked, he spots a guy's shadow standing right at the window. He drops the drink instantly, glaring at the intruder with deadly intent. The kid thinks this is way too sketchy because he didn't even feel the guy roll up. Since the dogs didn't even bark, the guy's power is cracked and only poison can save him. The mystery dude calmly speaks up, saying he's not there to start any trouble. Actually, he praises the kid's coldness, understanding the seventh master's interests. After that, the messenger pulls out a super flashy gold card, tossing the invite straight at the kid. Our MC is fast and tries grabbing the item using his destructive power on his hand. No one saw that coming. The card phases right through and hits the old guy in the back. That leaves the boy completely stunned, totally lost in the illusion. Laughing a bit, the guy explains the item is a pass to the 7 Blood Eyes, and with the map on the back, he can teleport for free in any city. Once the old guy vanishes, the boy clenches his fist, disgusted by his own weakness. The VIP pass just sits there dumped on the floor near the table. Without hesitating, he bends down and picks up the invite. Staring at the emblem, he doesn't get why such a brutal sect would want him. Everything points to Master Bai pulling some strings behind this. Days just go by peacefully at the base, making the kid rethink his life and all the loneliness around him. After all, everyone he knew bounced and nobody came back from their missions. Since the place got way too empty, he just hangs at the pharmacy and goes back to crash. Focused on the white pill recipe, he improvises with other plants to run some tests. And would you look at that, the result came out way different than he imagined. He closely inspects the little sphere he just crafted. The creation pulls in energy and blows up like a grenade, becoming his 7 sons' bomb. On top of that, his shadow already took the shape of a really creepy humanoid. According to his math, by level 7, this beast will have a full body. He can actually control the creature now, but the thing corrupts whatever it touches. Looking at the floor, he's absolutely sure he'll have total command soon. Soon this will be his secret weapon, but a scream wrecks his focus. Outside, a squad of warriors runs for their lives through the woods. One of them screams in terror, seeing bright lights boxing everyone in. Those flying jellyfish close the trap, forcing everyone to draw their weapons. Showing zero mercy, the monsters charge in at an insane speed. And out of nowhere, someone throws a hand attack, blowing up a massive sphere. Multiple jellyfish go flying everywhere in pure combat chaos. These flying beasts attack whoever stands in their way. A running girl gets hit, screaming and begging for her life. In seconds, the girl's skin completely dries out and she drops cold on the floor. Slashing brutally through the air, another power beam tears up the forest. This blast catches the teammate off guard, dropping him to his knees in pure shock. Only the boss is left standing facing the beasts, with his squad wiped out on the dirt. Hidden away, the kid notices the squad was level 7, but the beasts were way worse. Since you can never be too careful, he decides to just wait for the mess to end completely. Except outside, the last soldier runs away screaming for young Master Bai. And just like that, everything changed. The beast shoots, and the MC decides to block the beam and save the guy. The head-on clash between their powers sparks a massive energy explosion in the woods, throwing up a protective dome that completely saves the survivor from the impact. That soldier's jaw drops, frozen by the miracle that just went down. With a violent boom, the wall of the makeshift shack gets blown to pieces. Our boy steps out of hiding with his fist leaking that ridiculous power. Yelling out loud, he delivers a devastating punch right to the creature's faces. This heavy hit creates a shockwave that sweeps the beasts away, clearing the whole area. Landing on his feet, the kid's hand is still smoking from the clash. They both trade a tension-filled look right in the middle of the wreckage. Stuttering a bit, the guy thanks him for the save and swears he'll return the favor. Right after he asked straight up what the MC has to do with Master Bo. The kid explains he's kind of like a third grandpa, curious to know how they met. Frowning, he demands a crystal-clear answer about this whole thing. But the warrior dodges the question and promises to make sure the kid gets out alive. No hesitation, he charges right into round 2 against the monsters, dodging enemy fire at a terrifying speed across the field. With every spin, the staff cracks through the air with some cracked strength to crush it all. A rain of flawless hits makes the jellyfish pop like balloons. Once the dust settles, you can see the guy completely cleared the path. That weird beast slime quickly melts and evaporates into the dirt for good. Shook by the combat level, the kid just stands there soaking in the details. Suddenly, he realizes his own wooden staff is completely cracking, until it completely turns to dust right between his fingers. Thinking fast, the guy yells from far away for him to catch the sword. He launches the sharp steel flying 1,000,000 miles an hour straight at our hero. The kid stretches his arm and catches the hilt mid-air with pure reflexes and style. Locking his stance, he unleashes a clean slash, tearing through the beasts cornering him. And man, he's totally blown away by the crazy sharpness of that blade. So if you liked it, drop a like for part 2. Our boy pushes forward with his blade, slicing right through a tentacle coming his way. Right after that, he dodges and chops up a bunch of slime creatures blocking the path. Watching this, the crowd is stunned, thinking he's way too overpowered and wondering what his cultivation level actually is. Dead serious, our MC focuses hard to stack up his energy. Suddenly, a massive wave of power rushes straight at him. The aura takes the shape of ghostly figures popping up all around our boy. Seen from above, he's completely boxed in by these energy ghosts. And that's where it gets crazy. A demonic face shows up right in the middle of the power blast. Towering over him, a giant demon made of pure energy fully materializes right behind our kid. Jaws drop in the crowd as they recognize the chi and blood shadow, something that only drops when someone hits perfect body cultivation. Staring down the danger, our MC stands tall with that massive demon ready to strike right behind him. His eyes stay cold and fully locked in. Without warning, the creatures pop open a bunch of eyes. Spooked by our hero's cracked power, the beasts start backing up fast. Realizing the threat is gone, our boy finally lets out a sigh of relief. Smoothly, he slides the sword back into its sheath. Handing the weapon over, he warns them the zone is sketchy and offers to help them dip out of there. The whole squad then starts moving away from the battlefield. Once they're safe, everyone cheers, feeling super relieved. Stepping up, the group leader thanks our MC, admitting they would have been wiped out without him. To show his gratitude, the guy offers his own blade to our boy. He hands it over and asks the kid to look him up if he ever visits Zizhuang so he can return the favor properly. Right after that, the guy turns around and waves goodbye, leaving the sword with our rookie. All by himself, our kid just stands there checking out his brand new loot. Carrying the fresh weapon, he soon rolls up to a small village. Strolling through the town, he starts noticing something is super off. It hits him that everyone is throwing him some really sketchy looks. Feeling suspicious, our MC turns around to see what's going down. Right there, he spots a few guys just chilling and drinking tea. Our boy keeps watching, trying to piece the whole situation together. Recognizing one of them as San Long Gul from the Master's crew, he finds it weird they're even there. Out of nowhere, something catches his eye. The sound of heavy, rushed footsteps reaches his ears. Glancing over, he sees a group of people down on the dirt, surrounded by a wolf pack. Going on high alert, our MC is about to step in when someone calls his name. A guy walks up next to a girl and drops the bad news that something went down with the Thunder Squad. Mind blown, our prota asks what happened while the dude next to the girl looks stressed out. The girl starts explaining that years ago, Captain Thunder lived like a normal family guy in a town far away. Sharing the backstory, she says he had crazy good stats, worked as a city guard, and the local lord respected him a lot. On top of that, he was engaged to a girl he grew up with. But the peace shattered when a convoy rolled into town, ruining everything forever. Skipping the graphic details, she says his fiancé didn't make it, and he barely survived, running away with her body to become a wanderer. The real reason Thunder went to Sumtao City wasn't just to retire, but because he spotted the carriage of the dude he thought he had finished off. Deciding to tail them, he got sold out when the camp master found out and handed him over as a gift to his partner. She drops the bomb that the enemies are from the Yabao group, planning to use thunder as a human vessel to drain magic item energy. Gritting his teeth, our rookie boils with rage hearing this story. The girl mentions an insider got rescued and tipped them off 2 days ago, so they tried a rescue mission but completely failed. No hesitation, our boy grips the hilt of his new sword tight. Looking dead serious, he yells out asking about the master in that convoy. Then, he draws the blade, letting it shine with pure intensity. Our MC spins around and glares right at the 2 dudes in black sitting at the table. Trying to talk it out, the guy says they need to discuss things, but our kid shuts him down saying there's zero need. In a flash, one of the guards gets sent flying, smashing into the wall. He leaves the rest of the crew completely shook. That heavy hit pins one of the guys to a fence while the others just stare at the mess. Wasting no time, our boy casually walks through the door, heading straight for his next target. One of the guards yells to attack all at once and the whole squad rushes our MC. But our kid is way faster, landing a flawless sword strike right on a rival's neck. Moving at an insane speed, he bodies the rest of the enemies cornering him. Leaping with a mid-air spin, he preps his stance to take down the next wave. He sinks a dagger straight into the guy's face. Thanks to the heavy impact, the guard gets launched through the air. Using that momentum, he closes the gap to the next target. Delivering a quick and lethal stab, he takes out another dude's throat. Narrowly dodging, our boy barely avoids a sword swing, aiming for his head. Bouncing back, he points his blade right at the guard. Filled with rage, our MC lands a perfect hit on the guy. In no time, he's standing tall, surrounded by the bodies of the guards he just wrecked. Glaring with pure fury, our kid looks at the last enemy standing and says, they all deserve to drop. The final guy left is completely terrified by the scene and the heavy threat. Without a second thought, the dude turns his back and tries to sprint away for his life. However, our MC walks over to the body that still has his sword stuck in it, yanking the blade right out of the guard's chest. Down in the dirt, the guard watches in horror as our boy walks toward him. Our rookie grips his weapon tight, making the guy stutter and ask if he's starting a rebellion. As an answer, our boy brutally slashes the last guard down. Right at that moment, Captain Thunder's team rolls up to the spot. The couple who told the story watches from afar, completely stunned by our kid's ruthless violence. Having dealt with the final enemy, he flicks his sword and walks through the bloody scene without looking back. Eyes full of hate, he warns them he's going after the bosses now. On the other side of a massive gate, the sect leaders are just chatting calmly. A buff guy sips his tea while listening to the other dude talk. Mr. Sun tells him to chill, saying the issue will be handled soon and no matter what, the Wanderer is no match for them. Continuing his villain monologue, he says he planned to train the kid and recommend him to the sect, but since he's acting reckless, putting him down is the best play. Taking another sip of tea, he mentions it's better to just live the good life. Outside, our rookie stares down 2 fresh guards blocking his path. Thinking absolutely 0 times, he charges in with his sword ready. Pure fury takes over his face as he goes for the strike. With one swift motion, he slices both guards' throats at the exact same time. Up on the roof, 2 sketchy figures watch the whole fight from above. The bald dude finds it interesting that the kid is a body cultivator too, but guesses he's only at the 6th or 7th level. Chewing on a toothpick, Baldy asks his buddy if he wants to jump in, or if it's his turn. That huge guy just flashes a cocky smile. Explaining the rules, he says since they're in Jingjiang sect territory and the palace belongs to an elder, it makes sense for the newly promoted Jingjiang elder to go first. Down on the ground, our MC spots the duo chilling on the roof. Staring them down, he's totally ready for whatever comes next. Boldly, our boy raises his hand. Tossing a taunt, he challenges both guys to come down and throw hands. One of them gets completely triggered by our MC's cockiness. Wasting 0 time, the old man leaps right off the roof. No hesitation, he dives straight at our kid. Getting ready, our MC preps a heavy swing with his blade. Jumping with all his might, he clashes right into the old guy. And this is where it gets good. A skeletal demon head pops out of nowhere. The elder is visibly shook for a second by the sheer power of the hit. Screaming out loud, he pops an energy shield around himself for defense. That demon jaw clamps down with max force right against a barrier. Safe inside, the old man smiles and tells our rookie not to waste time, because he's never breaking that shield. Shockingly enough, the whole barrier starts cracking right in front of him. Seconds later, the shield completely shatters under the pressure of that bite. That impact sends the elder flying backwards with some ridiculous force. Hitting the dirt, he screams in pain from the devastating counterattack. Clenching his jaw with pure rage, the old man completely loses it. Getting back up, he yells that the kid crossed the line, and now he's bringing out a special technique. The elder leaps into the air, getting his ultimate move ready. But right in midair, his own body starts breaking apart into tiny particles. Eyes wide with horror, he finally realizes what's actually happening. Dark marks and ugly cracks spread all over his face. Sickened by the damage, the old man coughs up a massive amount of blood. Totally in disbelief, he stares at our MC and barely stutters out a "U." Moving lightning fast, our boy dashes right at the enemy. Gripping the hilt of his sword tight, he preps the finishing blow. Our MC unleashes a massive, powerful slash aimed at the old man. With one quick and flawless swing, he literally takes the elder's head clean off. Watching from the roof, Baldy gets annoyed and complains the old man was trash, dying like a clown because he underestimated his opponent. Down below, our kid glares at the buff guy on the roof, waiting for his next play. The giant reaches into his clothes and pulls out a small bag, dumping a handful of pills right into his palm. Without thinking twice, the guy throws all of them into his mouth at once. Realizing what just went down, he knows he has to go all out or he's definitely catching a body. His body instantly starts swelling up, muscles getting absolutely massive as his energy explodes. Gathering all that juice, he screams for our MC to die. Flying through the air with clenched fists, Baldy aims straight for our boy. Our rookie braces for the hit, fully ready to return the favor. Baldy lands a completely devastating punch right on our MC. That strike hits so hard, it sends a wild shockwave rippling out. The force of the blow literally shatters the dirt all around them, tanking the full pressure of the rival's punch. Our boy holds his ground. Our MC throws a counter, but Baldy actually manages to block it. A violent crack echoes loudly across the whole area. Clashing like that triggers a massive explosion, completely wrecking part of the courtyard. A huge dust cloud ticks up, blowing both fighters in opposite directions. Battered and bruised, Baldy admits the rookie's strength, speed, and healing are way better, meaning he's totally dead if this keeps up. Out of nowhere, our boy leaps through the dust and charges at the enemy screaming. He sinks his fist deep into the rival's buff arm, making the guy grit his teeth from the heavy hit. Because of that insane force, Baldy's arm gets absolutely shredded. Locking his eyes on the target, our rookie doesn't stop and preps the next move in his combo. Spinning around, he lands a flawless knee right to the rival's face before he can even react. The impact of that strike practically shatters the guy's head. Tumbling backward, the giant hits the dirt, completely knocked out while our MC watches. Glancing ahead, our boy spots a whole squad of guys walking up from the back. Those newcomers are totally shook and terrified by the slaughter they just witnessed. Ignoring them completely, our rookie just turns his back and starts walking away. Casually strolling, he heads straight for a massive gate at the end of the street. Reaching his destination, he stops dead in his tracks right by the entrance. He freezes up, acting like he just sensed a super weird vibe. Standing in front of the giant wooden door, he just waits to see what's coming. That's when the door violently explodes in front of him, shattering into dozens of pieces. And no one saw that coming. A giant fist crashes through the rubble, showing a new opponent is here to brawl. That hit sends our boy flying far away. Recovering fast, he lands smoothly on his feet, fully ready for round 2. Looking pissed toward the attack, he spots 3 sketchy figures stepping out of the dust. Up front, there's an old guy with a long mustache and an absolute meathead. Recognizing them, our MC gets totally shook and whispers their squad name, the Thunder Team. He also notices one of the old guys left completely passed out. The scene opens up showing a huge courtyard surrounded by Oriental-style buildings. Right in the middle, our boy glares at the trio standing at the gate entrance. Seen from a knocked-out enemy's POV, our MC stands completely still facing the newcomers. Losing his cool, the meathead screams that they're all a bunch of useless trash. Pure disgust and rage fill his eyes over his lackeys failing so hard. Our rookie starts getting tense. The buff dude was literally carrying the knocked-out old man. A dark shadow completely covers the old guy's eyes. Looking grim, the kid's eyes show just how heavy the pressure is right now. Stepping forward, the giant flexes his spiked boots. He starts dropping some insane energy, making the air around him look like steam. A massive golden aura just explodes out of his body. The meathead leaps right at our boy, fully prepped to drop a devastating hit. His fist rips through the air at crazy speeds, aiming straight for our MC. Our Perta manages to dodge yet another heavy strike. The giant throws a wild spinning punch that sweeps the area, but our boy slips right past it. Trying to land a hit of his own, their strikes just clash with some ridiculous power. That impact spawns a giant shockwave that clears the yard, pushing both fighters far apart. From a distance, our rookie stares down the old guy holding the passed-out dude. Taking short steps, he slowly closes the gap between them. He stops a safe distance away, keeping an eye on the boss and the fallen old man. Mocking him, the meathead says he thought our MC was tough, but he's honestly pretty mid. Screaming his technique's name, the first Vajra Law, he gears up for another attack. Letting out a war cry, he sprints headfirst at our kid. The rival gets up close, fist raised high, ready to deliver the smackdown. Crossing his arms, our rookie actually tanks the violent hit, creating a massive crash. That punch's power is so cracked it drags our MC back a few meters. Down on the floor, the kid's shadow starts shaking and twisting in a super weird way. Surprised, the opponent figures that since the kid tanked 2 hits, he's got to switch things up. Yelling out the second Vajralaw, he unlocks an even crazier level of power. The giant rushes in with a heavy punch, but our boy just stands there waiting for it. Out of nowhere, our MC's shadow starts stretching backward, looking completely bizarre. It quickly extends straight toward the boss and the fallen old man. Fully focused, our boy knows this is the exact moment to make his play. Punching nothing but air, the meathead realizes his target literally vanished. Pissed off about getting clowned, he screams, asking if the rookie is trying to run away. But our boy's already popped up in the back, leaping through the air straight at the squad's boss. The old guy holding the passed out dude doesn't even notice him coming in hot. A dark energy suddenly wraps around the old man's hand and the body he was holding. Screaming out, he stretches his hand, trying to control that wild energy. In seconds, the aura gets way more intense right in the old man's palm. Freaking out, the geezer yells in pain the moment the energy touches his skin. His hand gets covered in a dark mark, looking like it got completely burned or corrupted. Our boy then stares down the boss while the other guy hits the dirt unconscious. Up front, the meathead gets annoyed and yells, asking where the hell he's looking. Startled, our boy turns around, sensing the giant's attack coming from a mile away. The guy then lands a full power strike right on our rookie. That hit was so ridiculous it sends our MC flying while coughing up blood. Pissed off, our POTA spins around to face the leader. Crashing into the dirt, he kicks up a massive cloud of dust. Right after, he grabs the fallen guy by the arm. Face covered in blood, our kid yells out, calling for the Thunder Squad. Then he literally yeets the guy away. Flying over the rooftops, the dude gets tossed completely out of the complex. He ends up crashing right into the other 2 guys on the street, knocking the whole group down. Still standing in the yard, the old boss glares at our kid and comments on his shadow. Our rookie just wipes the blood off his face with his bare hand. Dead serious, he lets them know it's finally his turn. The boy stays dang the old guy standing in the back, but the giant comes flying at him, screaming that he's the kid's real opponent. Meanwhile, the master flashes a hand sign and summons a dark technique called Underworld Decision. A creepy greenish energy starts pooling in his hand, ready to blow. Born straight from his aura, a massive shadow demon fully materializes. Tag teaming with the meathead, the beast charges at our rookie, who tries to fall back. Eyes burning with fury, our boy decides to step up and prep his counterattack. Clenching his fists super hard, he focuses all his power to strike back. His energy just violently explodes out of his body, dropping some insane pressure. Spiking aggressively, the aura forms a giant, buff ghost right behind him. Roaring loud, the phantom reveals a complete demonic warrior form. Shocked, the giant wonders how the kid can actually form a shadow using his life energy. Covering his face with his arm, our rookie locks his stance to go all out. Opening his arms like wings, he dashes forward at absolute max speed. That giant manifestation preps a totally brutal hit right along with him. With a clenched fist, the kid's aura charges in to completely crush the opponent. Landing a flawless hit, the phantom sends the meathead flying with some ridiculous force. Over on the side, the old boss's shadow demon watches the scene, actually surprised by what went down. Right after, our boy's energy ghost spins around and rushes its next target, holding nothing back. The phantom charges the master, who absolutely panics seeing the attack coming his way. Wearing a fierce look, the energy beast unleashes a massive strike straight at the geezer. Screaming in pain, the boss takes the purple phantom's violent hit dead on. Thanks to the impact, he gets yeeted backward, flying across the courtyard, but the old guy manages to land on his feet, skidding across the dirt to break his fall. Face all bruised up, he looks back and says he's lucky he dodged that one. Mentally, he admits that without his talisman, that punch would have messed him up real bad. Looking totally exhausted, our MC admits the enemy is too OP, feeling like his organs are all scrambled. Ignoring the pain and fatigue, he stays fully locked in for the fight. Eyes filled with resolve, he knows he absolutely can't stop now. Our boy leaps again, flying at the boss to keep the pressure on. Boiling with rage, the old boss screams that our kid is just asking for a death wish. Popping a skill, he summons a whole horde of dark spirits all around him. Flicking his wrist, the master points and sends his beasts to go all out. The ghosts swarm the air straight toward our rookie, ready to strike. Completely surrounded by monsters, our boy faces the threat without an ounce of fear. Dropping a taunt, he says level 7 demons aren't even close to enough to stop him. Right, and our MC smashes a punch directly into the old man's barrier. The hit sparks a heavy shockwave that pushes hard against the shield, but the protective talisman actually starts failing, completely running out of juice. Panicking hard, the master realizes his defense item is completely toast. Scrambling fast, he starts weaving a new hand sign to prep another spell. Focusing up, he keeps locking in the jutsu with his fingers. Sweating from the effort, the old guy finally finishes the complex sign. Screaming out, he drops his power, actually spitting blood right at the prota. A crazy barrage of blunt spears hits our boy dead on. Even while taking damage, our kid's eyes glow with pure intensity. Face packed with rage, he glares at the enemy, ready to drop all his power. Linking up with his energy phantom, he winds up an all-out punch. A purple aura flares up around his fists, stacking some crazy destructive force. Giving it one last push, he finally smashes the old man's shield. That blow hits so hard the master is losing ground even with the barrier up. The master's face just freezes in absolute shock. Watching from afar, the giant screams at the master, asking what the hell he's waiting for. Mentally, he notes that while the old guy's talisman is solid, his wrecked body won't survive the shockwaves much longer. Seeing the trouble, the meathead finally rushes in to back up the struggling master. However, our boy yells out and drops an even crazier wave of power straight at the master. Multiple strikes fire off, completely bombarding the shield. Groaning in pain, the master feels his body getting crushed by the rookie's hits. Bruised up, he tries to talk but can barely even open his mouth. Drowning in despair, the master thinks he doesn't want to go out like this. But our boy, eyes full of hate, gets ready to land the finishing blow. Clapping his hands together, he pulls a ridiculous amount of energy into one single spot. And the hit is just so OP it actually warps the barrier. The geezer looks up, completely paralyzed by the sheer force. His eyes go super wide, veins popping from pure terror. That strike was so devastating it literally turns the master's body to dust. Soon after, the shield shatters and the blast fades, leaving our MC standing there checking the results. Catching his breath to face the next opponent, he quickly spins around, ready to punch the giant who just pulled up on him. They both trade a violent punch, and the clash creates a massive shockwave. The power of the hit tosses our kid backward, making him bleed from the impact. Launched by the enemy's strike, he flies all the way across the courtyard. Crashing hard into the dirt, our rookie kicks up a cloud of dust and rubble. Slowly, the smoke clears up, revealing the absolute mess the crash caused. Other members standing nearby are completely shook. Two guys just keep staring, amazed by the smoke cloud still hanging in the air. And right then, our boy slowly walks out from inside the dust. Bleeding heavily and panting hard, he's somehow still on his feet. Despite the damage, his glare stays firm and full of rage, locked right onto the enemy. Caught off guard, the meathead can't believe the kid can still even move. He then suggests ending the beef right there, since the MC's friend is safe and their boss is dead. Adding to that, he introduces himself as an elder of the sect. Looking a bit dizzy for a sec, our rookie's face gets covered in shadows, spitting out some blood and wiping his mouth clean. The guy warns him that fighting him means declaring war on the entire sect. Without a second thought, our MC charges in once again. The giant gears up for another strike. Pure energy completely wraps around the prota's hand. Prepping his stance, he gets ready to unleash an attack with that power. Our boy looks down, focusing his juice even more. Visualizing the hit, he pictures it as a blade made of pure energy. Hand raised high, he sets up the finishing blow. Yelling loudly, the meathead rushes straight at the prota. A glowing blade of energy starts taking shape, swinging his arm down to deliver the strike. That sort of pure power comes crashing down in a brutal vertical slash. Caught slipping, the giant is completely surprised by the technique heading his way. Amidst the chaos, the lackeys watching get totally spooked by the force of that hit. Right after a massive energy explosion completely wipes the entire courtyard, the impact kicks up a huge dust cloud covering the whole spot. As the smoke settles, silhouettes pop back up, with one guy coughing from the dust. Jaw dropped, one of the spectators is totally mind-blown by what just happened. But right in the middle of the smoke, the meathead silhouette is still standing completely still. Turning super slowly, he looks over his shoulder to where our kid is standing. Actually impressed, he drops a comment about the blade that hit him. Suddenly, a thin, bloody cut just appears right down the middle of his face. And just like that, everything changed. Blood sprays absolutely everywhere as the giant splits in half. When the dust finally settles, all that's left in the yard is a giant slash mark, and the meathead is gone. A really creepy-looking crow caws loudly in the pitch black. Soon after, the beast finishes eating a carcass, leaving absolutely nothing but bones behind. A shadowy shape looking like a bat flies over the wrecked city. Debris and broken wood cover the floor, showing just how insane the destruction is. Hiding inside a dark crack, our boy watches all the movement outside. Pretty hurt, he coughs blood onto the dirt, leaning on his hand so he doesn't collapse. The rookie thinks about how he spent the last few days trying to escape the Jin gang sect, to find shelter at the Seven Blood Eyes. But halfway there he got exposed, and to make it worse, the sect's ancestors showed up personally to end him. Flashing in his mind for a sec is the image of that OP enemy dropping an attack on him. Luckily, he managed to burn a talisman he had to escape by the skin of his teeth. Realizing his current stats aren't enough, he knows all this running and stress pushed him so hard he can finally level up today. Sitting down inside the cave, he's fully locked in to break through to the 7th layer. Meanwhile, a dark figure dives from the sky at insane speed straight toward the city. It's the ancestor, touching down super smoothly on the ground. Stopping in the middle of the wreckage, he scans the area searching for a target. The ancestor admits the kid runs fast, and even though his survival chances here are basically zero, he needs to make sure. Grumbling to himself, he swears he won't rest until he sees the boy's dead body with his own eyes. Suddenly, his gaze locks onto something, sensing a brand new presence pulling up. Right there, a ghostly figure of a woman pops up out of nowhere inside the ruins. Moving fast, he leaps out of the way. The boss jumps back, dodging the sneak attack by literally an inch. Eyes wide open, he goes on high alert, totally surprised by this new challenger. Charging again, the creature smashes through a nearby roof with pure strength. With a loud crack, she rips right through the wooden frame, flexing her destructive power. That ghost lady fully steps out of the shadows. Standing on another roof, the ancestor is shocked when he actually recognizes her aura. Pushing off with his energy, he flies in the exact opposite direction of the enemy. Meanwhile, back in the cave, a heavy purple energy starts blasting out of our kid. The aura turns into a massive tornado, spinning violently all around our rookie. Eyes glowing super bright, he pushes his limits to wrap up his power spike. A spiky-haired purple energy phantom roars with some overwhelming force. Manifesting as a giant right behind our MC, the energy flows while he keeps meditating. The giant keeps screaming, dropping even more power and completely flooding the cave. Finally, the purple ghost fuses directly into our boy's body, and he stands up. Opening his eyes, he looks at his hand and confirms he officially cleared the 7th layer of his secret art. The rookie easily feels that his strength has more than doubled since before. Knowing he still can't fight the ancestor head-on, he realizes outrunning him won't be as tough anymore. He thinks about leaving right now and heading straight for Deerhorn, the closest 7 Blood Eye city. But he quickly changes his mind, getting a determined look and deciding he can't just bail yet. A golden talisman gets tossed rapidly through the air. Seconds later, it explodes in a flash of energy, completely dusting a guy's body in the process. Elsewhere, 2 guys are running, with one complaining that having so many beasts in the Forbidden Zone makes searching and fighting way too hard. Suddenly, a sharp black projectile flies at them at max speed. One of the lackeys defends himself by throwing up an ice wall. Startled, he watches his partner act fast and drop a barrier to block the hit. Except right at that second, our MC's purple energy ghost pops up and attacks them both from behind. Our boy pulls up and throws a heavy punch, cracking the dirt from the impact. Landing perfectly, the strike completely crushes the goon. Even from far away, the ancestor senses a super mysterious energy. Pissed off, the OP guy screams, "Damn it!" right after he shakes off, crossing the entire city in the blink of an eye. One of the lackeys is totally frozen, eyes wide with pure terror. And the very next second, his partner gets completely dusted, leaving nothing but a pool of blood. Eyes glowing bright, our rookie coldly watches the whole scene. The surviving goon looks at his hand and then spots our kid flying away at top speed. Glaring back with pure rage, our boy spins around midair. Squeezing his fist tight, he gets ready to do something crazy. The guy sees our kid turn and chuck a small item straight at him. Confused, he wonders what the heck is flying his way. All alone in the rubble, the goon just stands there totally clueless. But out of nowhere, he feels a creepy presence and looks up terrified. Rising from the dirt, a massive crowd of tortured souls pops up alongside the ghost lady. That long-haired beast stares down at him, dripping with a deadly aura. Just then, the ancestor arrives on the scene looking incredibly pissed. The ghost and the OP boss just stare each other down for a sec while more souls keep spawning. That last lackey is literally paralyzed by fear watching this go down. Without warning, his actual soul starts hitting ripped straight out of his body. A bunch of spirits show up, just floating around in the air, right after his soul gets completely sucked up by the ghost lady. Deep inside the ghost's energy mass, the lackey's soul starts showing up. Twisting and screaming in pain, the spirits are trapped inside the phantom beast. The last goon's face pops up clear as day, showing pure agony while being consumed. Watching the slaughter, the ancestor keeps a super tense look on his face. Out of the blue, our boy looks back with wide eyes, completely spooked. And the very next second, he gets the hell out of there. While our rookie flies through the air, the ghost lady pulls up with her terrifying vibe. Sweating cold, the OP guy looks up totally paralyzed by fear. Mentally, he knows if he moves a muscle, he'll end up exactly like his goon. Suddenly, the ancestor is just floating in the middle of a weird dark space. That green ghost energy starts swirling all around him. Seeing that, the boss drops a look of absolute terror, but then he chills out and gets confused, wondering why the ghost isn't hunting down our MC. Glaring with pure hate, the boss decides he absolutely can't let the kid live. He fires off a golden energy beam that tears across the sky at max speed. The whole village gets swallowed by a weird fog with whispers echoing everywhere. Hovering in the air, the ancestor checks out the situation from above. Getting closer, he thinks about how embarrassing it is to use such a dirty trick on a low-level kid. Even so, the vibe he gets from our boy is super weird, so he decides to just tail him and strike at dawn. But suddenly, he stops completely confused by something he just sensed. The boss realizes the spot has a heavy, strange aura but almost no beasts, quickly figuring out something is very wrong. Trusting his bad feeling, he decides to drop the chase and yells to fall back. And just like that, the ancestor dips out of there at crazy speed. Meanwhile, our MC notices he was definitely being followed. Right after, he chucks a bunch of spheres. They blow up out of nowhere, creating a massive distraction. Then, a dark energy vortex starts forming right in the middle of the town. Totally lost, the ancestor wonders what the kid is doing, since being in the spot with the heaviest energy will just bait all the beasts. Without warning, the boss's eyes go wide, realizing something huge. Dark energy tentacles explode everywhere, completely wrecking the houses around them. A massive white light flashes in the sky. In seconds, absolute darkness covers the whole city. Furious and shook, the boss can't believe what just went down. The guy starts backing up and bails as fast as he possibly can. But out of nowhere, a ton of creepy whispers take over the village. Soon after, a whole flock of demonic creatures with spiky wings pops out. Swarming the sky, the beasts literally crawl right out of the dirt. One of the monsters, rocking a skull face and long hair, glares at the scene. Moving in, the horde of dark monsters flexes some really grim looks. Off to the side, our protagonist watches the whole thing unfold. Flying through the sky, the ancestor gets chased by the winged beasts. Panicking hard, the boss wonders what the hell is even happening. Suddenly, the flying monsters pivot and go all out directly at him. Fighting back, the boss slices one of the beasts with an energy strike. Taking the hit dead on, the creature falls and splatters on the dirt. Broken and bleeding, the demonic beast just lays there completely wrecked. It starts making these weird noises, almost like it's calling out for backup. And right on cue, these freaky spiked plants start sprouting all over the town. A sharp sound of something slicing the air echoes across the village. Right as there's a rout, a massive crater rips open in the middle of the spot, smoking heavily. Without warning, a giant wooden arm covered in vines bursts out from a blue energy glow. A monstrous stone and wood golem starts rising from the dirt, cracking everything around it. Planting its giant rocky hand on the floor, the beast keeps pushing itself up. Standing up completely, the monster has all these branch-like tentacles growing off its arms. Next up, it slams its wooden tentacles right into the ground with max force. Those roots spawn a whole forest of spikes charging straight at the ancestor, revealing its full form. The giant skinny beast has arms and legs that look exactly like tree roots. Dodging at top speed, the OP guy slips right past the root attacks. Pissed off, the boss screams out, wondering what the hell those things even are. While the chaos pops off, a huge crack appears. That crack starts spreading super fast. Something slowly crawls right out of the gap. Far away from that, our rookie is sprinting full speed through the ruined streets. Figuring the monsters are busy with the ancestor, he knows he needs to bounce from the forbidden zone right now. Rushing toward the wall, the kid plans to vault over and finally make his escape. Stomping his foot hard, our prota breaks his sprint out of nowhere. With yellow energy flaring from his feet, he stops dead, looking completely serious. His eyes go wide, getting totally spooked by something popping up right in front of him. And that's where it gets crazy. The giant ghost lady shows up, blocking his path with a blue aura. Hidden inside her cloak, a sea of ghostly faces starts humming this really weird sound. Terrified, our boy truly thinks it's game over for him. Hundreds of glowing faces just keep making that creepy buzzing noise. Up close, you can tell they're actually human faces, all looking super peaceful. The spirits even look like they're smiling. Soon, the souls start thanking him, with dozens of voices dropping a thank you all at once. Hearing that leaves our rookie completely surprised and confused. Then he actually recognizes one of the faces, a little old man with a thin beard. Spotting the familiar face, our boy remembers exactly who the guy is. Clicking right away, fading out, the ghost starts breaking down and turning completely see-through. And right after, she faces straight to our MC's body like smoke and vanishes. Our kid finally gets it, realizing those souls belong to the people he cremated. Flashing back, the village elder asks our rookie if he knows why he offered to take him away from the ruined city. Explaining himself, the old guy says it was because he saw what the prota did for them. The old man's reflection shows up in our boy's eye while he replays the conversation. Snapping back to reality, our rookie bows in pure respect to the fading ghost. Softly, he mutters a quick thank you. Following that, our boy turns around and starts walking away. Walking alone through the village ruins, the place is now completely empty and quiet. The scene cuts to a mountain landscape with a blue sky and some clouds floating by. Out of nowhere, a streak of golden energy rips through the sky near a giant temple. It's the ancestor, flying at max speed to get the hell away from there. Furious about failing to catch the Prota, he plans on definitely getting his revenge in the future. Touching down hard, he lands right in the middle of a wrecked courtyard. But suddenly, the boss freezes with wide eyes, completely shook by something he sees. Looking ahead, he spots a massive ruined building with its frame totally shattered. Right there, the ancestor finds a bunch of his guys, some hurt and others carrying the fallen bodies. Face packed with rage and shock, he screams out, wondering what the hell is even going on.